My name is Candace, aka Picasso baby, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own morning tea painting. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stopping back by to paint with me today. So today we're going to be creating something fun, cute, and really simple. It's actually one of the paintings that hangs out in my background quite often. We're going to be creating the morning tea painting. This painting was requested by Cerise Bogan. Cerise, I hope I am pronouncing that right. And I thank you so much for watching, for painting with me, and for suggesting this painting. And I hope you do enjoy it. Before we get started and go over the things that we need, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you don't miss the next tutorial. So a few things I'm going to be working with today. As always, I am using a 16 by 20 inch canvas. You can use the canvas size of your choice. It's completely up to you. And we are going to be doing some drawing today. So I do have a pencil, and I also have a Sharpie marker, and I do have the fine point marker. I'm also going to be working with some different size acrylic brushes. I have different sizes between small, medium, large, flat, rounded, all of that. You just want to make sure you have some different sizes to kind of work with for each step. Make sure you have your water cup with cold water, and then some napkins to dry your brushes off on. And I am working with acrylic paint. I'm using the colors Mars Black, Phthalo Blue, Mars White, Chrome Yellow, Burnt Sienna, Bright Red, and as always, make sure that you grab the beverage of your choice. If you're 21 and up, grab yourself a nice adult beverage. If you're not 21 and up, it's all right. Grab yourself some juice, some tea, some water, whatever you'd like to help you get through the painting. I am having my adult beverage right out of my custom tumbler today. This is my custom tumbler from the Project Chick. She will be linked down below, so make sure you check her out. And also everything that I'm working with will also be linked down in the description. So let's go ahead and get started. So I am going to start by actually drawing everything out first, and I'm going to be drawing it out with pencil first. That way if you make any mistakes, you can erase it, or you can just redraw the line and we'll actually make the correct outline with the permanent marker. So I like to use the pencil first when I'm doing a lot of details. That way it's easier for me to change them up. So you want to make sure you go ahead and grab your pencil, and the first thing that I'm going to do, I want to decide where her cup is going to go, because the cup is going to be the center focus of the painting. So I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to make sure my pinky's at the top, and I'm just going to spread it pretty wide. So I have all my fingers spread. And right below my thumb, wherever your thumb hits, I'm going to make a little mark. Now that is where the top of my teacup is going to be, or my coffee cup. So right there, I just want to draw a line there, and then I am going to just make a U right under it. So I'm just making a U right under it, and then off on the side here, I'm going to also create a handle. Don't worry about actually making the inside part of the handle, because a lot of that's going to end up getting drawn over, so you don't have to worry about that just yet. And now I'm going to base her hands off of my coffee cup. So the first hand I want to start with, right over here, I'm going to actually do a curve for the front of, and you see how it's like right on the actual coffee cup. So I just did like a bit of a backward C, and I'm going to pull this line back to the end of the coffee cup, and I'm going to pull the line at the top back as well. But when I get to the end of the coffee cup, I'm going to curve down. So you see how I'm going down at an angle, because my hand is holding the cup. Now I am going to do the rest of my finger. So I'm going to make that backward C again, starting with the tip of my finger. And I am going to pull down, and this time I'm going to go down at a little bit of a curve. Instead of just going straight back, it curves down this time. I'm going to come back out from where I just stopped. I'm going to come back in and curve in right on the cup. I'm going to do my little curve for the front of the finger, and then I'm going to curve back again, and I'm going to curve down one more time for my little pinky finger. So I'm curving down this time. I am going to do the little curve for the front of the finger and pull it right back off of the cup. Now, I'm just going to pull a little line down there, and we have the first finger there. But that line that divides the first finger and the second finger, I'm going to start back on that line, and then I'm going to curve it off. And you see how these two lines here kind of meet up? So I'm going to curve it off. I want those to be at the same area. I'm going to pull a line across to close it. And now I am going to pull down my arm. My arm is in a robe, so I'm just going to pull a line straight down. And I want this to be based on the corner of the canvas. So I'm just going to pull a line down at an angle here. And it does go right off the canvas here. So it doesn't go all the way down to the corner, but I'm pulling it towards the corner and it goes off to the side. Same thing here. I'm pulling it down. Just pulling it down. And then I'm going to pull a line across back up here for like the end of the sleeves. All right, so we got one arm over there. Perfect. So now the second hand and arm that we're going to do, of course, is going to be on this side. And I'm basing this, the starting finger off of the handle of the cup. So right above the handle, I am going to make a little line that goes out. And then I'm going to curve it over and down a bit. And it does go down at a bit of an angle. And now that I have that, I'm not going to do anything else with that. What I am going to do is right here at the back of the hand. So kind of like towards the middle of the handle. So I'm going to make a little mark right there. So about the middle of the handle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3 fingers in. So I am going to curve that first finger. I'm going to do the second finger. And again, line back. And then I'm going to do that pinky finger. And it goes right to the bottom of the cup and right back. And now, where I started here before, or where I stopped at here, stop this finger, I am going to pull a line. Again, that's kind of like the sleeve is on the hand. I'm going to go ahead and fix that. And now I'm going to, the same way I pulled this arm down here, or this sleeve, I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to angle it going towards the bottom, but it's going to go right off the side of the canvas. Same thing here. And then I am going to make my sleeve. So once I have that, before I start to do anything up top, I'm going to go ahead and get this bottom part filled in. So for her robe is open a bit. So what I'm going to do is right here where I pulled this line across for the ending of the sleeve, I'm going to start right at that point. And I am going to pull a line going at an angle all the way down. I'm going to go in, pull another line down. That's like a piece of the robe there. This time on this side, I'm going to come up to the top of this sleeve. And I'm going to pull a line at an angle. And again, move down a bit and pull another line at an angle. So now we have the opening of the robe. Now she also has a bit of her shoulders showing. So I am going to do her shoulders. And the shoulders are just right on the side of each sleeve. So I'm starting at the top of the sleeve on the outside here. And I'm just going to do a curve. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. But this time I'm going to start a little bit more towards the bottom of the sleeve. So not at the top like this one was. Towards the bottom. And I'm going to do a little curve. So now we have her arms, her shoulders, her hands, her cup. Now we can go ahead and start to draw everything above. So I want to get her face and her hair in. So I am going to start from this finger here. So that first finger that we started with, kind of like the corner of the cup, I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to simply curve up and do a bit of a curve over. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to draw over this. So once you have that part, now what I am going to do from the finger here, I want to create an ear. So not from right from the mug, but from the knuckle of the finger here. I'm going to create a curve, a backward C. And then I'm going to pull a line down because that's going to be like a little sideburn, her little hair. And I'm going to do a couple of curves going up to that line there. And you can decide, so this is pretty much her face here. This is the outline of her hair. You can decide how big you want the actual perimeter of her hair to be. I don't want it to be super big, so I'm just going to come from the top here. And I'm going to do a bit of a wavy line down to the shoulder. Same thing on this side. Just doing a bit of a wavy line down to the shoulder. As far as the actual details on the face, you don't have to worry about that just yet. I am going to show you how to just fill those in with paint. Now, if you do want to outline it with marker, this is your time to go ahead and outline everything with marker. Specifically, you want to make sure that you're only outlining the parts of the cup and the fingers that we are going to be painting in. So you want to make sure that these lines that kind of cross over each other, so like where you can see that little piece of the cup or you can see that little piece of the handle on the fingers, don't worry about doing that. You only want to outline the parts that you're actually going to be painting. And then we will start to fill her in. So now that we have everything outlined and drawn out the way that we want it, what I'm going to start to do now is I'm going to start to actually fill in her skin tone first. Now, one step that you might be doing a little bit differently, if you are doing a different color coffee mug than the white, then you want to go ahead and get your color of the mug in first, because we are going to be painting the hands around that. So if you're doing a pink mug, a purple mug, whatever color mug you want to go ahead and get your color of the mug done first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my medium round brush, or if you have a medium flat brush, you just want to make sure it's more on the medium size and not too big. I'm just going to go in, and wherever I had those pencil lines at, I'm going to go in and pretty much put some white there. Or if you don't want to paint it white, what you can do is erase those pencil lines. You don't have to leave those in there. You can go in and erase the pencil lines if you want to make sure that your mug stays white. So again, I'm just adding a little bit of white where my pencil lines were. And if you're doing a different color mug, you want to get your mug filled in. Once you do have your mug filled in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and fill in the color of her skin. So I'm going to be showing you a few different skin tones, and you're going to be able to choose the one that you want and fill it in. So I'm going to start out with a bit of a lighter tone. So I'm taking some white. I'm taking a little bit of yellow, a very small amount of red, and also just a little bit of brown. I'm going to mix that up. Add a little more white to that. And the lighter you want this shade to be, remember you can just add more white to it. Now if you are just going for, if you like the brown how it is on its own, you can use the brown as is. If you want to lighten the brown, you can always mix the brown and white. If you want to go for more of a caramel tone, you can mix brown, yellow, and a little bit of white. And you do want to make sure whichever color you choose to mix, make sure you make enough to cover your face and ear, both your hands and your chest area, because you don't want to have to make this color again. Sometimes it won't come out the same, so you want to make sure that you have enough of this color. So if you're going for the caramel tone, that is brown, yellow, and white. And if you're going just a bit darker, going as chocolate as you want, you are going to mix up brown and a little bit of black. Keep in mind the black does turn it dark really quickly, so you do want to be careful adding that in. Add it little by little until you get the shade that you want. So once you decide which shade you are going to be using, you can go ahead and get your hands filled in, your chest, your open chest area here, and then your entire face and ear. So I am going to be using a little bit of the darker mixture. So I'm using the brown and a little bit of black. If you want it like the original painting, you are going to be mixing up brown, yellow, and white. But whatever color you choose, make sure you mix enough of it right on your plate. And you can go ahead and start to fill in all of the sections of her skin tone. All right, so once you have the skin tone entirely filled in, what we're going to do next is we're going to switch over to the background. So we're going to give this skin tone a little time to dry before we add the robe. So I'm going to add the background. Now this time I am going to be switching to my bigger brush, and my background is blue. I'm just going to keep it blue. So I am going to be picking up white on one side of my brush and blue on the other side. If you want to do a different color, completely up to you. But you just want to decide what color you're doing, and then you can start to fill in your background. All right, so once you have your background filled in, if you want to take a little bit of a drying break, you definitely can, but you don't have to. If you want to move right into the robe, you can. For the robe, you can use your medium or your bigger brush. It's completely up to you. I am going to be using my bigger brush. You just want to make sure that you wash the previous color out really good. And on the original painting, she does have a pink robe, so it is a mixture of just pink and white, or you can even just pick up red and white, or you can pick up red and white together. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a different color. So on my plate, I am going to mix up some white, some yellow, and some red. So I'm just kind of pulling them together in a pile and mixing them. And just keep in mind, the more yellow and white you use, the brighter your orange will be. So once you have the color you are going to be using for your robe, you just want to go ahead and get everything filled in. So remembering to fill in your shoulders. So you want to do both of the shoulder areas. And then you also want to go ahead and get the arms and the chest area filled in as well. One thing that I'm going to make sure to do when I'm filling this in, I'm going to make sure to fill this band here in a little lighter, and also the ones on the end, just so that you can see the difference between them, even though we are going to outline them as well. So if you want to save those 4 little areas to fill in last, I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm filling in just the shoulders, the sleeves, and then these 2 bottom areas. All right, so once you have the sleeves, the shoulders, and these bottom parts filled in, so I have the tops of the sleeves and then also the top of the robe or the collar of the robe left. What I'm going to do is, where you had the color that you're using, mix in a little bit of white with that, because I want to make it a bit lighter than what I've been using. So I'm just making it a little bit lighter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that filled in with this lighter tone. That way you'll be able to see the difference in between the ends of the sleeves and also the collar of the robe. But if you wanted one solid color, again, this is your painting. This is your morning tea, so it's up to you. All right, so once you have all of those different areas of the robe filled in, all I'm going to do next is I want to get my hair filled in. I am switching back to the medium round brush. If you would like to use the bigger brush still, it's completely up to you. But I am using the medium round brush, and I am going to get all of her hair filled in. So I'm just kind of outlining around her face first. And then also make sure you go around her ear. Don't cover that ear up. Outline that side, and now you can get everything else completely filled in. I'm just filling it in with black. You can do the color of your choice. It's completely up to you. All right, so once you have everything filled in, you have your mug, your skin tone, your robe, background, and hair completely filled in. All we want to do is we do want to allow this some time to dry. So we're just going to let it dry for about 5 to 10 minutes. As always, if you do not want to take a drying break and you would like to blow dry it, you definitely can. Just make sure you blow dry it high on cool. And then also, if you do want to take a break, remember you can grab your beverage, your drink of choice, and then we'll start back together in about 10 to 15 minutes.
3 days later.
Now that our paintings are dry, we're going to go in and start to add some different details. So the first details I want to add is I want to add in some highlights and also some jewelry, because they're going to be using the same colors. I'm just going to be using white. So I am going to go for, either you can go back to your rounded medium brush, or you can go to a small round brush for this part. And again, I'm using just white paint. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add some jewelry in. And I'm just giving her a ring and an earring. If you want to give her something else, it's completely up to you. I am just going to do a little dot right here for an earring. And then on her third finger here, I'm going to pull a line across. And I'm going to put, you can do a circle, you can do an oval, you can do a square, whatever shape you want your diamond to be. I'm doing more of like an oval. But whatever shape you want, completely up to you. All right. So I'm going to keep using this white, and I'm going to also add some highlights on the robe. So like on her this end of her sleeve here. Wherever you want, actually, wherever you add it, you just want to make sure that it's following the shape of the curve, or the curve of where it's going. So for example, how this curves in this way, I'm going to make sure the line does the exact same thing. How this curves off to this side, I want the line to do the exact same thing. So wherever you decide to put a highlight, you want to follow the original curve that's already there. So I'm going to do one here. I'm going to do one on the shoulder here. And then before I finish up with my white, I'm going to also add some highlights in the hair. This part is completely optional. And if you don't want the white highlights, you can definitely do like red highlights, brown highlights. If you want it to be more like a blonde, you can mix up a little bit of yellow and brown, and you can do those color highlights. It's completely up to you. But I'm going to keep this white on my brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to also pick up a little bit of black, because I don't want it to be like just straight white. I want it to be a little bit duller, or blend in a little more. And I'm still doing the same thing. Wherever I put these highlights, I'm going to follow that curve that's already naturally there. So how we have curves that's going like around her face frame area, you want to follow those curves that are already naturally there. And I'm just going to do a few. You can do as many or as few as you want. It's completely up to you. And any of them that you feel like are standing out too much, just pick up a little more black on your brush and go back over it. Or pick up, if you didn't use black and you used a different color, pick up the base color that you used and go back over it. So once you have all of that in, we are done with that part. And now it's time to add some details onto our girl's face. So I am going to keep using one of my smaller brushes, and I am going to be using my black paint. And I want to go in and do her face first. So one thing that I'm going to make sure to do with her face, I want to kind of make a line for the nose first. That way I know exactly where everything is going on each side. So I'm not going to actually make a nose. I'm just going to make a line for like the actual bridge of the nose. So kind of right in the middle, or the middle of the cup, I'm going to start up a bit and pull a line down, and then it just curves. Just a little bit. It kind of goes off at a bit of a angle here on the side or towards the bottom. Or you can just pull it straight down. It's up to you. And I'm going to base everything else off of that line. Another place that I'm going to put a mark really quickly is on the ear. I'm going to put a curve inside of the ear that just follows the natural curve that's already on the outside. And now back to her face. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting in her eyebrows. So on one side, she has more of like a swoop, like kind of that covers her eyebrow a bit. So on this side where the swoop is further down, I'm going to pull a line over at an angle, and it's just going to go right into the hair. I don't have to worry about the edge of it coming down. Now on the other sides, and I'm going to move over just a bit, and you want to be able to have at least one finger in between each eyebrow. So if you need to put one finger there and make a little dot, you definitely can. And then for this one, I'm going to pull a line over and then curve a line to the side there. And you don't have to, like, to create the arch, you can do it as steep or as subtle as you want. It's up to you. And then for the eyes, I am simply going to come down a bit. Now for this, again, if you want to put a finger there and make a mark underneath, you definitely can. So I have those two marks, and all I'm going to do with those two marks is create a curve, and the curve does go up. So almost like a little smile. Same thing over here. And now that I have all of those things, now if you get to this part and you're like, I like my face like this, like I don't want to add anything else, you definitely can leave it as is. I am actually going to go in and add a little more detail. So what I'm going to do to make the brows look a little fuller and still natural, I'm going to start from the front, and I'm going to pull little lines up kind of right next to each other, but they're curving off at an angle. Or even if you just want to like create another line like the same shape right above it and just fill it completely in. How you do it is completely up to you, but I do want to make sure these brows look the same, so I'm just going to go back towards the front and pull those natural looking hairs out. And then from the bottom of the lashes, I'm going to start at the inner corner and pull lines that are angled towards the outside of the eye, so they come down and they're coming like down and off to the side. Again, you can make them as full or as long as you want. It's up to you. But start at that inner corner, and you want to make sure that they start off shorter at the inner corner, and as you start to go off to the outer edge of the eyelash, that they get longer. And again, how long, how wispy, how full you make them, completely up to you. I'm going to do two more things before I just start to outline everything. Now I'm also going to go in and get the word on my cup in there. Again, we do have on the original painting, it says wife. You can make your cup say whatever you want, even if it's something like that you need to remind yourself of every morning, because again, this is morning tea. You can put whatever you want. I am going to put boss on mine. So right in between these two fingers here, I'm going to start my B. And it's okay if the fingers cover something a little bit, because that's just more realistic. So I have boss on mine. You can put whatever you want on yours. If you want to put like a little detail, a little drawing, however you want it, it's completely up to you. One more thing I'm going to do before I just start to add the outline. I want to come down to the cleavage area. And if you like this how it is, you can leave it as is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create 2 backwards curves to give her a bit of cleavage. And you see up here, it's like it's open. It's a little opening here and it doesn't touch the robe, but at the bottom, it does curve right into the robe. So again, that step is optional. You can do it if you want. If not, it's completely up to you. But once you are ready, you can start to outline everything. So you're outlining the cup, her hands, the robe. One thing you want to make sure that you're doing when you are outlining is you do want to bring back out the bottom of the pinky finger and hand and kind of make sure that you separate that from the cup and the body. So I'm going to go in first and outline the bottom of the cup. And now I am going to go in and I'm going to start with the pinky finger. I'm going to start that curve, pull it back, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Go in with the pinky finger first and pull that curve back. Now, everything else you should still be able to see. So you just want to keep using one of your smaller brushes, a little bit of black paint, and go ahead and start to outline everything. So once you are completely finished with outlining everything and you have all the details filled in like you want, if you want to add anything extra, you definitely can. If not, you just want to make sure that the very last thing that you do is take your smallest brush, a little bit of paint. I'm just using white paint. You can use the color of your choice, and you just want to find a spot to put your initials. I'm just putting mine right off to the side. You can put it in the corner. If you want to put your initials or name on your robe, you can. How you sign it is up to you. But once you sign it, you are all done. And now you have your very own morning tea. Thank you all so much for painting with me today. Again, big thank you to Cerise Bogan for suggesting this one. I hope you have a great time painting it. As always, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you do not miss the next tutorial. And if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments so that we can get to your painting next. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.